Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Faisel Sayed,
And I'm Dr. Dan McCarter.
and you're listening to Faisel and Friends, where we believe access to primary care is a right, not a privilege. Today, we're talking to Dr. Eric Bricker from A Healthcare Z about the systems at play. Let's dive right in. Dr. Dan, Eric, hello. Good to see you both.
It's good to be with you, Faisel.
Dr. Faisel, Dr. Dan, good afternoon. It's great to see you both.
Yeah, actually, only the audio is going to be going out. We got to get used to just the audio going out. So we stopped. We're no longer sharing the videos.
It's great to hear you both.
Eric, I love having you back on again. And I think about we've learned so much. Dr. Dan and I were just talking about learnings over the last couple of years with connecting with people online and on social media, and we have met so many kindred spirits outside, and definitely one of them would be you. We just speak the same. We speak the same language. We don't just brush aside all the ethical issues surrounding healthcare delivery. We really like to really engage people about the uncomfortable topics. There are a lot of uncomfortable topics. Just because it's complicated doesn't mean that it's something that we can't just discuss and talk about in an educational and informative manner. So I love what you were doing on LinkedIn. That's the first time I saw you, was with the videos that you were putting out on LinkedIn. And then from there, it's just been wonderful to be able to connect with you and even continue on the conversation today.
Well, I appreciate what you and Dr. Dan have been doing, and all you folks there at ChenMed are getting to the root of so many challenges in healthcare today. And what's the expression? For every 1,000 hacking at the branches, it's better to hack once at the root. You gentlemen are hitting the root.
Well, thank you. And I also like your Campfire Stories book as well.
Oh, thanks for reading that. That was very nice of you.
Growing up as a Boy Scout, I like the way you chunk it down in good little chunks. I was watching one of your videos this morning. I love your videos because a couple of them are about what I need to get through one of my exercise routines. And this was the one on superior diabetes care. And you made a point in there that just giving somebody a PCP's name doesn't change outcomes, right? It's about the care you deliver, isn't it?
Yeah, it's sort of a misconception. Oh, well, if you just get somebody a PCP, then they'll be fixed, right? Is that how it works? Obviously far from it.
It's only one of the pieces. It's only one of the pieces.
Well, and that's where and I think both Dr. Dan and Dr. Faisel, I think we've actually had a previous conversation about this, where the approach of motivational interviewing, which is an actual technical term that was developed by an American psychiatrist in terms of behavior modification, it's incredibly useful and highly effective. Now, it's not perfect. It doesn't magically change people's behavior, but its biggest adoption is in the primary care physicians of the British National Health Service. And guess what they do in the British National Health Service? They measure the outcomes of the primary physicians in great detail. And they actually pay them performance bonuses based upon the performance of their patient panel. And so there's motivation for the primary care physicians to use motivational interviewing. It's not really a quote unquote interview. It's just talking about to people about their sort of stage of acceptance for change, et cetera, et cetera. But it's amazing what happens when the incentives align. And so that's a prime example of, you just don't magically have a primary care physician. It just makes you better, right? They actually have to have the skills and the strategies and approaches for behavior change.
Well, no, I was going to say they also have to have the relationship. They have to know you and have the trust with the patient. And then they actually have to have the time to do the motivational interviewing. You can't do that when you get 1.8 visits a year with somebody. It takes a little bit more time than that.
Absolutely. And the thing that I'm really always amazed about with primary care physicians is that, and I'm on Twitter. Just interestingly, there's tons of doctors on Twitter. I think people are like, oh, I don't like Twitter anymore. But interestingly, I think Twitter is a fantastic platform for physicians, because physicians don't have a lot of time. It's like, I got a couple seconds here and I got a couple seconds there. So I got a couple seconds to read a tweet, and I got a couple seconds to tweet out, and that's it. And that's kind of all I got. And so it actually works out great. And so I'm actually there was this recent thing on a thread on Twitter about no bias against family practice doctors, but it was a thread of internists where they said, "Hey, what do you love about internal medicine?" And it was GIM, it was general internal medicine docs, and literally, and it was like you had to say three things that you liked about general internal medicine, and then you had to pick three people, and then tag three people, and then they would do the same thing, and expand like that. And literally, almost every single doc said the relationships with their patients was the number one most satisfying thing about their job. To Dr. Dan's point.
No one's going to look back on their career and think about, oh my gosh, what an amazing billing history I had.
Yeah. But I mean, some people get really, excited about putting in LVADs. I mean, there's nothing wrong about getting excited about putting in
Sure.
LVADs, but that's just kind of, and we all went to med school with these people, that's just kind of how it is. Nothing wrong with it. It's just not our thing.
That's right. That's part of we were talking about recently about like how the country is so many different systems. When you compare us with other countries around the world, it's not fair. It's not necessarily fair to make like a comparison with a country without a healthcare delivery system, or like a healthcare delivery payment system, or even like say what the national insurance, the national system that's in England, because of how we have so many different systems here in America. The VA is one type of a system, like these government owned places with government employees, and those patients have a completely different experience of the healthcare delivery system so far as the payments and things like that are concerned. We talk about Medicare, and patients who are within that system also, they have one set of experiences with the healthcare delivery system based on whatever their arrangement is with the Medicare Advantage or Medicare supplement plans and things. And then of course, the employers, co-pays and deductibles. And then so it's not fair to really compare it because we've got a couple of these really big systems. But at the end of the day, if you can't afford your co-pays and deductibles, that kind of puts you in the same group. Because even our uninsured in America, the advantage our uninsured in America have is they can still go to the emergency room if they're really, really sick. But if you can't afford your co-pays or deductibles, you earn too much to to qualify for any type of assistance, then you're kind of in that same category. And we're not talking about a couple million people here. It's now gotten into the tens of millions of Americans. And we talk about this all the time. No matter how eloquently you try to talk about, all the advances in American healthcare delivery, we've gotten to the point now where too many people are suffering because of medical debt. Now we've gotten to the point now where this is not just something that impacts people who need it. This is impacting all of us.
Yeah. Well, and Eric, I'm going back to your video this morning. You were saying that the importance in diabetic management was shared decision making, and it's giving patients reasonable options. And a reasonable option is probably not going into bankruptcy to pay a couple $100 copay a month on a drug when you're only getting $1,200 a month in Social Security.
That's right. And I think, this is where I love talking to you, and I love what everyone is doing at ChenMed, because the affordability and the financial aspects of medical care are absolutely within the scope of practice of a physician. And historically, we're like, oh, we don't deal with that. It's the insurance company's fault. It's the government's fault. And like that, and I'm pointing the finger back at ourselves as physicians, because we have essentially disempowered ourselves by putting the locus of control somewhere else. And, power abhors a vacuum. And so when we've given up that control, believe me, somebody else has stepped in to take control of that. And they being, and when I say they, what I mean is, it doesn't necessarily quote unquote have to be a doctor, but it's where it is whatever the person or the entity is that puts the needs of the patient first.